Welcome back. Well, I know what I'm going to be doing tonight. These are taxing times. Have you done yours yet? Your tax return, that is. And how do you know when it's time to defer to the experts? Well, our expert, AGN business doc Nick Bontis, has some answers. If you've checked the calendar lately, you'll note that you have exactly 1 month left to file your taxes for the year 2009. Now, here to clear up a few myths and add a few tips, our business doc, Nick Bontis. So, are you ready? Have you filed your taxes yet?
Not yet, but I have all the information I need, and that's really the task at hand.
All right, let's talk about the myths first of all, Nick.
Sure, a couple myths. The first one is, I don't need to file because I didn't make any money last year. Well, that's a myth. Ooh. You still need to file tax return, and you can also benefit because you can get eligibility for tax credits that you can then potentially carry forward in a future year when you will make some money. So it's very, very important. That's an excuse that people use, that they didn't make any money so they don't have to file. So that's myth number one. Myth number two, I don't need to file because my employer has not sent me my T4 slip yet.
Passing the buck.
That's right. Another myth. Just because you didn't get your T4 slip, you are still responsible for submitting that income. So what you need to do is contact your employer. Perhaps it got lost in the mail or there was a printing mix-up. It's not an excuse. The next myth is, well, you know what? The government doesn't know where I live because I just keep moving every year, so I don't need to file taxes. Ooh. Of course, another myth. They're going to find out where you're at eventually, and it's your responsibility to contact the local CRA office, the local tax office in your region, and update them as to what your current address is. So those are some three myths.
So you've got to be really proactive in this area.
That's right.
What about e-filing? Are we all doing that now, or
sure.
Where are we generally?
Well, it's very, very popular. Over half of Canadians now are filing electronically. And if you want to get more information, you can go to their website. It's cra.gc.ca. And the cool thing about filing online is that you can also purchase software. It's very, very cheap, $15 or $20 for some software. And the benefits are, A, if you have a refund coming to you, it'll get to you faster because you've already filed on the servers in Ottawa. 2, guess what? The mistakes will be captured by the software package. So you won't get anything delayed, you won't get any penalties because the software itself helps calculate, what you need to pay for what specific category. And 3, software also helps give you advice and tips. Did you forget your kid's tuition receipt? Did you forget your interest from your mutual fund? So it'll actually remind you and prompt you as to other slips that you perhaps forgot to include as part of your tax return. So good advice.
It's fairly user-friendly?
Very user-friendly and very economical. I would advise people to consider using software to help file.
When do you know that you should go to an agency?
Typically when you have a complicated tax return. So what's the definition of a complicated tax return? Everybody typically who works for a large employer will get a T4 slip. If you only get one slip, and that's it, you don't need a professional. You can do it yourself. It's very, very simple. Once you started getting upwards of maybe 10 slips or more, because you have a slip for your kid's tuition, you have a slip for your mutual fund, perhaps you have a slip for some extra consulting work that you might do on the side and some expenses, that's when you really need to hire a professional.
All right, what if you're among, I don't know what percentage of Canadians, haven't filed for a few years because of all of the above or one of the above reasons you aforementioned?
So the government has actually implemented a program called the Voluntary Disclosure Program, VDP. Ooh. And the Voluntary Disclosure Program...
Sounds like something very ominous. Okay.
Well, it's not that scary. It's really for people who, know that they didn't submit all the slips they were supposed to submit. So they're giving these individuals an opportunity to voluntarily disclose that perhaps they made a mistake in a previous tax return. That's right. So it's better to voluntarily disclose as opposed to the opposite, which is when you have a full audit on you and they're checking everything. Now, here's another thing that people need to remember. If a tax official does contact you and ask for further information, you can then not voluntarily disclose after that initial contact.
Ooh, so be upfront about it.
That's correct. It's better to be upfront about it. More importantly, it's better to be on time. You have until the end of April 30, so you still have a month left. Don't procrastinate, because everybody likes to procrastinate at the last minute. And my dad, he's an accountant. He knows how many people wait until that last weekend. It's better to get it done early.
So he taught his little boy well, did he?
He
All
did.
right, Nick. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
On the next Always Good News, our